The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, go Cowboys! This is Mick Shots.
Streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Now, here are Bill Jones, Everson Walls, and Mickey Spagnola.
And it's time for another edition of Mick Shots inside the SWBC podcast studio here at the beautiful Star in Frisco. We are now 1 week away from draft day, the first round of the National Football League Draft 2022. Everson Walls has all of his draft research taken care of. He's got lots he wants to spew out over the next.
I did that last week. I'm just listening today. By the way, the introduction. I see we got it right this week, right? You guys said we didn't.
Oh, the music?
Yeah, we didn't do. Yeah, come on now. We didn't do that last week. You guys, I felt like I was naked last week. We didn't get. I get the boom. I got to do my shoot the thing, and I didn't get to do that.
Just go.
Y'all went last week. That was crazy.
All right, and Mickey Spagnola has not one, not two, but 3 legal pads filled with notes from the last week
and,
that
and
he wants to
get to. And a bunch of trash over there too. We don't know what the trash is over there.
Look at all that trash.
And my 3 notebooks aren't as thick
That's
as
right.
the
That's
green
the big
notebook.
green NFL draft scouting notebook.
Yeah, but yours is neat.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Yours is
That's
so
right.
neat.
That's
What,
right.
are you supposed to be able to read it?
Yeah, and find it. You have the stuff piled up over there.
Well,
Yeah.
I got a lot of stuff, just in case I need to research. When you get a little older, you start forgetting things.
You're supposed to research before you come in.
Oh, okay.
I've done some research, as a matter of fact.
You have?
Look at this page. I spent yesterday morning.
Is that
look
who
at
the
this,
Cowboys
Everson.
are drafting, the ones
No.
in pink?
This is a page of the free agent offensive linemen in the league. And I went through to find out how many games have these guys started, what's available out on the open market. Do you have to take a guard in the first round?
Because
What else
somebody
might
said
be
you
out there?
can't take a guard in the first round.
That's right.
You can't take a guard in the first round.
So what are the other options out there? You can't take any more than one position in the first round unless you're going to trade your whole draft and get up into the first round, and you're only going to take 2 players in the whole draft. And so I figure, you know what? You need to see what else is available out there. And these guys on this sheet right here will probably – well, there are several guys on this sheet right here who are veteran free agents who don't have jobs right now, who in 2022 would do a better job playing left guard for you than a guy that you draft in the first round, perhaps.
And especially if they don't have a job on May 1st.
That's right.
After the draft. And everybody's bringing in their guys, and they're all excited about them. And if you don't have a job, you're knocking on the door, right? And saying, okay, I'm available, and the price goes down.
Yes, it does.
And I'm just talking about for this year.
Yeah.
Now, the first round pick, you're drafting him not only for this year, but you're drafting him for the next 5 years.
Correct.
And then hopefully you want to sign him to a second contract. That's
like
the
Amari
standard.
Cooper, right? Does that sound like Amari Cooper?
In what way?
We signed him. He came on. We didn't give him a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
But we brought him in for the hopes of having 5 years with him, and then we signed him to another deal. Right?
Yeah. But I'm talking about the rookie, the second contract.
Which,
for
by the
rookie.
way, that you brought that up, Cleveland redid his contract.
For better or for worse?
The $20 million.
In sickness or in health.
Yeah. In production or failure.
Right.
They turned his $20 million base salary. They paid him $18.8 million in a restructure bonus.
Okay.
And spread that over 5 years.
Okay. Wow.
Paid him a 1.12 base salary this year. And his cap hit is only $4.9 million.
Wow, that's very nice.
And they spread it over the $18 million. They gave him that signing bonus, so he gets that already. And they put 2 voidable years on the back end of the 3 years that remained on his contract. And so while the Cowboys paid $6 million in dead money to get rid of him, they redid his contract over basically 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so his cap hit for this year for the Cleveland Browns is $4.896 million.
Yes, yeah. So they reduced $20 million to $4.896.
So the Cowboys could have done that.
Save $15 million. They could have if they wanted.
They wanted to.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was conceivable that for a $4.9 million hit on your salary cap right now, the Cowboys could have redone that deal.
Correct.
And kept him.
So
why did they not do that?
It was their decision. You know, they can say, well, it was cap saving, but what it was they didn't want to invest more money in him down the road, like push more money back down the road. You know, and it's the same decision they made with La'el Collins, right? They didn't have to do that. They decided from a cap saving standpoint, they can absorb his dead money and then pay Terrence Steele no more than probably $800 and some $1,000 to start at right tackle. I mean, that was the conscious decision. Now, you got to be right? Because it's not like, you know, you had your hand twisted to do that.
That doesn't make me feel any better. That in regards to Cooper,
I wasn't trying to make
that saddens me. That saddens me that you know they had a chance to keep him and didn't want to keep him.
You know what that means?
What does that mean?
They've got somebody or several guys that might be available to them in this draft who they feel they'd rather have right now and on into the future.
And free agency. You don't think so?
No,
free agency
no.
itself. We got some good free agent wide receivers.
I mean,
out
you mentioned the offensive linemen available in free agency.
And if I had more time this morning, I would have done wide receivers.
Wide receivers.
You're too busy writing all pretty and color coding.
I just knew Mickey's going to ask me about wide receivers. No. I just didn't have time to do it this morning. But I can do the same process on wide receivers.
So
there are receivers out there.
I wanted to get my money right here. Jarvis Landry was visiting the Saints yesterday. Five-time Pro Bowler. But, again, when you talk about a guy like that, it's like, well, how much? How much is it going to cost? Because his base salary in 2021 was $12.5 million. So he doesn't figure he's coming cheap, right? We're not, you know, bottom basement bargain price here. But again, last year, for whatever reason in Cleveland, he had 52 catches for 570 yards and 2 touchdowns. So does he have to this is his 9th season. Has he got to reestablish himself as a top wide receiver? And how much are you going to pay for that? And that's what it comes down to, those guys right now, right? How much are you going to pay? Which, as a matter of fact, and we'll be careful how I say this, with Deebo Samuel asking for a trade, well, here's why. I heard people talk about it for 10 minutes this morning on the radio.
Okay.
And they didn't get to the reason why. He's in the last year of his contract.
That's right.
At $3.9 million. And he just saw these wide receivers get paid $30 million, $28.5 million, right? And he's thinking, I'm maybe more valuable than they are.
That reasoning never came up in.
No. It was like, I don't understand what happened. He had such a good relationship there. And it's like, well, here's what happened.
That must have been a 49ers station or something.
And the last year of his base salary, because he's a second-round pick, right? So he only gets 4 years. That last year, there's no more guaranteed money, by the way. So that's what this is all about.
Yeah, how could things have gone wrong? He was the guy carrying the boombox on the field at AT&T Stadium.
And
he was the Pied
the
Piper
guy that called his
team.
own number. He called his own number against the Cowboys.
And if San Francisco watched the game, he's the reason they beat the Cowboys.
That's right.
Right? So I was just throw that out.
But he liked a tweet of a picture of him in a Cowboys uniform with CeeDee Lamb in the picture.
That's cute.
That is cute. That is cute.
That's where we're living in today, where you've got
you can push your own narrative very easily.
And it's in members of our profession.
Do you think he thought of all that by himself or his agent?
Oh, there must be something to this because he liked to tweet with him in a Cowboys uniform. He wants to come play for the Cowboys. He also wants to make $25 million a year. He ain't coming to the Cowboys.
It just shows you how quickly social media can take this thing over.
Right.
If they wanted to.
Scrubbed his Instagram account.
That's right. Has Kyler got his Instagram back going
You
again?
don't have to be a genius just to make a bunch of crap up. Okay.
And by the way, Kyler's in about the same boat that Debo is.
That's right.
You know?
Right.
So, all right. So what do you want to get to on your legal pad?
Well, I'm trying to remember the timing of last week. We
were on Thursday.
That was Thursday. Kelvin Joseph was.
It came out
after
Thursday or Friday.
Yeah.
Of course it did.
That's right.
So, we spent all last Thursday talking about the primary needs.
That's right. We talked about needs.
Yeah.
So that's the question.
I got the text message from Bill. He goes, "Well, you might put cornerback on there
now." Not again. We just did this last year, right?
We did.
Yeah.
And all right. So, I mean, he's out here working out.
Yeah.
Right. So,
but you don't know. Now, they may know. Mm-hmm. We don't know. It's not like what's going to happen with them. And by the way, the NFL could have a say in it also.
Mm-hmm. So if there is a possible suspension that we could be dealing with this season too.
So you're talking about your fourth corner, who.
So what realistic? Okay, let's say that wipe the slate clean.
Okay.
And you got Anthony Brown, you got Trayvon Diggs, you got Jordan Lewis.
Correct.
As your top three corners. Okay, where do you want your second-round draft pick cornerback to be slotted this year on the depth chart?
I want him challenging for one of those other two top three spots. I'm going to give Trayvon Diggs his spot, right? Mm-hmm. Anthony Brown's in the last year of his contract. Jordan Lewis, okay, they signed him, but he might have 2 years left.
I'll look it up here.
Off the top of my head, he signed a 3-year deal. But you would like to challenge him, right? And that's what his job should have been.
His eyes should have been squarely on Jordan Lewis and his position.
Yeah.
To me, that's all you're looking at.
Or however it worked out, because if he was good enough to start at left corner, Anthony Brown has played the slot. He can move inside if they thought he could do it better than Jordan Lewis.
Okay, and
that's what they did last year.
At times.
Right.
All right, you look at the inventory and at cornerback,
and
what's left on their contract. And you were right, Jordan Lewis has 2 years left on his contract. Anthony is going into the second year of his contract. If you look at, who is going to be, what cornerbacks are going to, this time next year, if they don't do anything with anybody's contract between now and next year at this time, what is your inventory at cornerback and what's left on their deal? Okay, so, Trayvon Diggs will be going into his last year.
No, he should have 4 years.
He's going into his third. He's going into his third right now, so he'll be going into his fourth year and a second-round draft pick. He's going in the last year of his deal. This is next year, 2023.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I think when you're looking at the draft, we get caught up in, what needs do they have right now?
Right.
What about the needs they're going to have a year from now? And the year after that, and the year after that.
And that's why you use the second-round pick on Kelvin Joseph.
That's right. And so Diggs, a year from now, Diggs will be going into his last year. Lewis is going into his last year. Now, Kelvin Joseph would have 2 years left on his deal, and then Deshaun Wright as well.
And Anthony Brown's is up.
And Anthony Brown's a free agent next year. So you've got a need a year from now for a starting cornerback because Anthony Brown's deal is up. He's going into the last year of his deal.
And if you just look at this year, he would at least been at the very least, right, compete. If he doesn't win, he's your fourth corner. So if there's one injury, he's on the field, right? Now, after that, all you got is Nashawn Wright and Kyron Brown if there's no Kelvin Joseph. C.J. Goodwin is a corner, but he's a special teams guy, right?
Okay.
That's why he's here.
So let's say, pick the number of games. Let's say Joseph is out for this, okay, for a number of games. Then, I mean, you've got a definite need right now for a cornerback.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he hopes it's only a suspension.
Right.
Right. So, anyway, there's a need there. Safety a year from now. Curse has a 2-year deal, so he'll have 1 year left. Hooker has 1 year left, and Mukwamu would have 2 years left a year from now.
And Donovan Wilson.
Donovan Wilson's he's going into his last year. He's a free agent after
Okay.
this year. So, I mean, you can make and by the way, DeMonte Casey, okay, who apparently visited the Seahawks this week. How many snaps did he play? What was his percentage of snaps that he played last year?
I'm going to guess. I can look it up, but I'm going to guess off the top of my head. It was about 48%.
He played 94% of the snaps.
94.
94%.
Oh, I was thinking Neal.
What?
Neal.
Yes. And so we're sitting here thinking, we got safety taken care of, okay, because they signed Curse, they signed Hooker, and they got Donovan Wilson.
Now that's another.
But the way Dan Quinn and Joe Witt employed their secondary guys and the sub packages, they used those safeties a lot last year.
And that was another conscious decision to not. Now, I don't know if they lowballed him on trying to re-sign him, but they didn't make it a priority to bring him back, right?
Right.
Well, when you look at the end of the season, his productivity, plays, I guess, went up, but plays made went down.
Yes.
And that was something that was glaring.
Plays played went up, right?
Yes, plays played went up, but plays made went down. And so, after the Chargers game, I was thinking that he was that guy, because he had those kind of instincts, and he showed them early on in the first 2, 3, maybe 4 games. After that, man, it just seemed like he became tired.
It's a long season. It
seemed like the grind got to him.
And let's face it, Hooker didn't exactly, stand out, right? He had a game.
He flashed.
That's what I thought, Bill. He flashed well. Mm-hmm. I really thought that.
But it wasn't like a consistent
But
deal.
Here's again, is a guy that now has some tread, had lost some tread on the tire,
right.
And he's he has had an injury history. And so what if you lose him? So the point being, when they approach this draft, you can go across the board with basically every position group, and you can make the case that there is a need,
right.
which is why I'm big on best player available.
Yeah.
Right.
And, when Steven...
That's kind of sad, Bill, when you think about
Steven talked about it.
But every team in the league is like this. I mean, that's the way the league is. The way the league is designed, where you only have these guys. It's like college.
You have to prioritize a group, not just individuals, but an entire group. You have to figure out if you want to prioritize that group or not.
And when they were trying to pin Steven down the other day, I guess it was Tuesday, on his radio segment about positions in this, he goes, "We want to draft good players," meaning just what Bill said. It's like, you're not going to sit there and say, I got to have a defensive end. You say that, you got to have a defensive end, and you end up with Taco Charlton, right? You can't just go in and say, I need this.
We have to. We like you said, we have to have
just get me a good
wide receiver, though. We have to have a guard.
I want to quickly correct on the KZ snaps. It wasn't 94. It was 79%. He had over 900 snaps on defense last year, and it was so that's 79%.
But look at
his
starts. I bet his starts were right at 14.
15 starts.
15. Okay.
15 starts. 17 games,
So
15 starts. Yeah.
And we always talked about how in the secondary, it doesn't matter who starts. You're going to get a lot of playing time if you're part of the nickel or even dime package.
That's right. And but I mean, so that is a starting safety who they can think that they're replacing with Hooker. Okay, but
even with using Hooker more, and you got Donovan Wilson, right? Now you brought back Jaron Curse.
Thank God.
But now you're thin on the back end, so you're not as flexible to use him as one of those linebackers sort of.
Yeah, is Kearse going to assume some of the role that
Exactly.
that Keanu Neal had last year?
Well, then that to me that would depend on what Wilson's doing.
Right.
You know, and they need him to step up the way he was before he got hurt. If he could do that, then we are looking at some flexibility here. Not necessarily at the cornerback position, but certainly within that interior from the slot position on in.
So those first 3 picks, and that's why when Stephen answered the question about trading up, he goes, yeah. He goes, but when you trade up, and I'm paraphrasing, you're giving up a good player, meaning if I'm going to trade up in the first, it's going to be my second or third round pick.
Right.
And your second and third round pick should be a potential starter for you, right? And so trading up where they're at, somebody's got to fall, right? It's got to be Des Bryant quality. And I went back and looked, and in 6 of the last 8 years of the draft, they stayed right where they were and made the pick. 1 year they didn't have a first, so that's one of the 2 years they didn't do it.
Amari Cooper.
And that was for the Amari Cooper trade. And then the other one was basically this last one. They traded down to get a third-round pick and Parsons and ended up with Chauncey Golston. So, but you have to go back to 2012 for the last time they actually traded up in the first round, and it was from 14 to 6 to take Morris Claiborne.
And they could have gotten Michael Brockers at 14.
And Brockers was the second-round pick they gave up, I believe.
Brockers went 14 to the Rams.
14. Okay.
So, and the second-round pick they gave up, which was 45 overall, they could have taken Bobby Wagner there.
Right.
It went 47.
So what Stephen was saying, I will give up.
So
you
basically,
give up a good player.
So basically, and to his point, they basically gave up Michael Brockers and Bobby Wagner for Mo Claiborne in that draft.
Right.
And how did Brockers do?
Brockers still playing.
He's still playing for the Rams.
He's been great. He's been terrific.
Been really good.
Yeah. I mean, he's not the type player that is going to get a lot of sacks, but as a defensive tackle, run defender, and just a rock-solid guy, I mean, he was
like
with
Larry Cole.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's
something like that.
Right, and he'll wind up playing about as long as Larry Cole did, about 15 years in the league.
And if you're
Randy, to that point, Randy White, I was doing some shows with Randy White, several years ago, and he did some work with Michael Brockers, I think, through his agent. I don't know if Casterline represents him or whatever, but Brockers' agent got Randy to work with him, and Randy would just rave about Brockers.
Really?
Yeah, but.
And Mo, I mean, if you get a sixth pick in the draft, I mean, you want a second and third contract on that guy, right? And Claiborne, I think his second was a 1-year deal because he was coming back from injury, and then that was it.
It didn't matter because he didn't play well.
He couldn't stay healthy.
No, he didn't play well.
He just couldn't stay healthy. So, yeah, this moving up, moving down stuff, their nature lately has been to stay put.
And did you like the move down in 2013?
Yes.
Which they moved down, and they took Travis Frederick at 31, and then Terrence Williams was the guy that they took with their third-round pick that they got by moving down, trade with San Francisco.
So if they want a guard at 24, they need to move down and get something.
So these years that you guys are speaking of, how well did the free agency market play?
I didn't have time to do the research on that.
I mean, come on, that has everything to do with it, because sometimes T.Y. Hilton's out there, sometimes Landry's out there,
Cole Beasley's out there.
Yeah. Oh Lord, don't say that. Bring back Cole, damn it. Let's do it.
All right. To that point, I want to ask you: do the Cowboys need in this offense a slot receiver? I'm not saying Cole Beasley. I'm saying, do they need a slot receiver like Cole Beasley, kind of a chain mover slot receiver to go to on third down? When we come back,
you got that guy
on Mick Shots.
Brace yourself for an existential question. Has your butt been having enough fun lately? Have you been treating it well? Has it been going places? If not, then it's about time you start using SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the best way to get your butt tickets to live events. Just ask the thousands of other butts who have rated it the #1 ticketing app. So what are you waiting for? Download the app now or visit SeatGeek.com to get tickets to sports, concerts, and live events and make your butt happy. SeatGeek. Get your seat in a seat.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way. Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
At AT&T, everyone, new and existing customers, get our best deals on every smartphone. Why? Because you deserve it. For turning your living room into your office and your gym. For teaching Grandma how to video call and teaching her again.
It's the button on your left, Nana. Okay, your other left.
It's not complicated. Everyone deserves something new. So AT&T is giving everyone, new and existing customers, our best deals with every unlimited plan on every smartphone, even the latest ones.
AT&T may temporarily slow data speeds if the network is busy. Restrictions and exceptions may apply.
Back to Mick Shots.
K-Post Roofing and Waterproofing, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys. From corporate homes to your home, have your roof checked by choice, not by chance. Call now, 214-225-4860. That's kpostcompany.com.
Kevin Shepler on Twitter is asking, any calls today? Mickey, do you want to open up the phone lines?
Absolutely.
Okay, what is that phone number?
888-855-2297.
So Kevin Shepler, your opportunity is right now to get in here on Mick Shots. All right, do the Cowboys need a slot receiver? Could they use a slot receiver like a Cole Beasley type? Or in this offense, would you rather see them use what they? I mean, they've got.
Can I get a?
In CD Lamb, he can play in the slot. You can draft guys that can or versatile, can play inside, outside.
I need to play somebody that can play, and preferably somebody that can do maybe all three. And not just
so you would
slot
prefer
somebody in there
because
that says,
Cole is slotted as a slot.
Yeah, and he is.
Right.
Even
He's
though
a
he
slot.
doesn't think he is, it's hard to see him on the outside. I mean, he'll get lost downfield for the quarterback.
Don't ask Cole any questions. Just don't ask him any questions.
And does Dalton Schultz kind of fill that role a little bit?
Yeah.
As far as a chain mover.
There's no doubt.
You know.
Right. So,
of course, they had Witten, too, with Cole Beasley.
I was reading a bunch of stuff, and I found if you wanted a slot guy, one of the guys that came up could be available. I don't know if it's first or second, but the guy from Western Michigan, Sky Moore, he's 5'9", 195.
Nope.
Too short?
Yes.
For a slot?
So that's my question. Because that's
they need some big physical wide receivers.
That's my
that
question.
was our problem last year. I fuss about it all the time. Getting pressure with a four-man rush. They started sitting down on our routes, sitting down on the short routes, or just coming up and jamming us at the line of scrimmage. Takes away all the timing that you're going to have in this type of offense if you can't hold off a four-man rush.
Chris Beam,
you couldn't
show us Drake London.
You couldn't
show Everson Drake London if you get a chance.
You
just
couldn't.
whenever.
You couldn't get off the line of scrimmage. You need receivers that can fight their way through that jam and still keep the timing with their quarterback.
Okay, how about this guy? North Dakota State, Christian Watson.
I love him.
I love him. He is 6'4" and ran a 4.36 at the combine.
Wow.
And he averaged.
Legit
Now, again,
4.36.
it's North Dakota State.
Okay.
But I know you probably are not going to diminish that.
No, I'm not. With my 1 AA playing.
He averaged 20.4 yards per catch. And the last.
That's our man. That's Christian Watson right there.
That's Watson.
You know who he reminds me of?
Who?
Jordy Nelson.
I saw a note on him, and it pointed out that Cooper Kupp was the last FCS wide receiver taken in the top 75 of a draft. And this guy might be the next one.
For those of you not watching, we are
Yes.
watching Christian Watson right now. Some footage of him. I love
You
him.
want London?
A little bit more on Christian Watson here. Watson 4.36, a 1.45 10-yard split, which is incredible.
1.45.
1.45 10-yard split.
I'd be just getting out of my stance.
38 and a half vertical.
The hand's still on the ground. The hand is still on the ground.
Did you say 11.4 broad jump? His cone drill was sub 7. 11.4 broad jump. That's right. And he had 18 bench reps, too. So he's a strong guy also.
Oh, my goodness.
So he is 6'4", 208. I went back and
Now,
looked
that's
up.
a football player.
Yeah. And he's got explosion. I mean, that's what those measurables tell you right there.
So how about this one? And I think this was in his career there. He had 4 touchdowns of at least 65 yards or more. So he was running by people, right?
That's another
Or
Debo.
running
Another
by
Debo.
him after he
It's
catches
another
the
Debo.
ball.
He could be running through him like Debo.
Yeah.
And so Jordy Nelson, he came out, he was 6'3", 217 at the combine. And so this Christian Watson, 6'4", 208. And Nelson ran a 4.51. Watson's faster at 4.36. Nelson's 10-yard split was 150, which is still blazing. It's just the same. If you think of Jordy Nelson back at Kansas State, he beat Texas with in the punt return game. He was a lot of the same type stuff that Christian Watson does here.
What's the kid's name in Pittsburgh? Wide receiver, the one that held the ball too long when they were trying to complete a drive, a touchdown. And he held.
You're talking Steelers?
Pittsburgh Steelers, yes. Number 11, I think is number.
Oh, Claypool.
Claypool, yeah.
Chase Claypool.
That's who he reminds me of.
Yeah,
That's really who he reminds me of.
Yeah.
Same speed, same size.
Yeah.
That's who I see when I see him.
All right, Drake London. You're talking about a big guy who can. Here you go. Here's your Drake London right here, number 15 for your Southern Cal Trojans. Now the Cowboys will consider themselves very fortunate if Drake London is still there at 24. There's a lot of people, including me, who have him right at the top of the wide receiver rankings. Him and Garrett Wilson, Ohio State.
What's his numbers?
All right. Glad you asked.
And
you asked. Okay. Now, he did not run a 40.
Okay.
And that's the knock against him is his long speed.
Okay.
And he had a personal pro day just last week, and he opted not to do any of those measurables. He didn't
Well, the
need
highlights
to.
are very
He is 6'4".
underwhelming. They're very underwhelming.
Yeah,
highlights.
6'4", 219, okay, is his size. These are the numbers that should impress you. In 8 games last year, guess how many catches he had? In 8 games.
8 games total?
8 games total last year. Guess how many? He had a fractured right ankle, and so that's why he only played
32.
8 games. 32 catches in 8
wow.
games?
I was going to say 40.
Yeah, 40?
I thought you said I was right. I was like, okay, go ahead.
88.
Oh, no.
Wow.
He had 88 catches in 8 games. Yes. For over 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns. The year before, 6 games, 33 catches. And the year before that, 13 games, 9 starts. He had 93 catches. I mean, this is a highly productive guy. Here, get this about him. Basketball player, too.
I was going to
one
ask.
of the top.
I was going to ask what
He's Mike Evans.
Okay.
There you go. He's Mike Evans.
There you go.
He played for the USC basketball team after his freshman year playing football.
Yeah.
Okay. He averaged on his high school basketball team. He averaged 29 points and 12 rebounds a game for Moore Park, which is a big school in California.
Yeah, of course. I know.
Yeah, it's on the way to Thousand Oaks.
That's right.
Yeah.
Or right next to it.
All-state football and basketball.
So he's
player.
not going to be there.
That you wouldn't think. Although there's some who got him mocked to
and here's the bad part for the Cowboys on these wide receivers in the first round. There's too many teams ahead of them that need wide receivers. And a lot of these guys are going to be gone. So that's why I was looking at that Watson guy. And
but I think he may be gone by 56 when the Cowboys pick in the second round.
You can't get him in the second.
Yeah. And so that's why when people say, well, 24 is too high to draft him. Well, if that's the player you want,
right,
and he's not going to be there at 56, then 24 is not too high to draft him.
Well, do you remember the grief the Cowboys got when they took Travis Frederick at the end of the first round? Well, that's too high to taking him. You could have got him in the second or third. And it's like, well, how do you know that?
5 Pro Bowls later.
Yeah. And still bemoaning the fact that he decided to retire, by the way.
Which is why we're in the predicament we're in right now.
Yeah.
So anyway.
I still have hope for Tyler Biadasz. You got to remember, that was his first year to start in the NFL. First year. So, because he started, I think it was 4 games as a rookie. He didn't play poorly, but they decided to keep continuity after he got hurt, and they left Joe Looney in there.
And I think that a lot of people are thinking, okay, Biadasz was a weak link because they were using in preseason Connor Williams at center, and that was a failed experiment because he couldn't snap the ball.
And he never played
it. But the main reason that they were playing Connor Williams at center in the preseason was in case they had an injury to Tyler Biadasz. They wanted to see where they were. Could Connor Williams then play center?
Because he was going to be the backup.
They figured out that, no, that is not an option for Connor Williams if Biadasz went down for him to slide over and play center.
And if Connor Williams could do that, that would open up the guard spot for Connor McGovern, who got the opportunity and didn't really pay off.
No, he did not.
Now, having said that, okay.
Mark Stepnoski was not Mark Stepnoski in 1989 when they drafted him in the 3rd round, by the way. He didn't get good until about 91. And he didn't hardly play in – remember, you switched towards the end of the year, Tom Rafferty. They knew he was done.
Right.
But he started, I bet, 10, 11 games that year before they put Step in. So I just think there's something there with Biadasz that the center position is not as important as the guard position, and I think you still can get a guard in the 2nd round. Or late in the first, you got to trade down.
I still say you can get a very good wide receiver in free agency. And you can push that wide receiver draft thing down the line. You can kick that can down the line.
If you have the money to pay for it.
Right. And after May, we'll know.
See, and that's where
Right. What they're asking
we'll
for.
Know.
Right.
Yeah.
See, that's why I think the best player available is the route to go, because I think you can go across the board at every position.
You want to eliminate a position in the 1st round? Probably not taking a quarterback, right?
Yeah.
Probably not taking a running back. Tight end.
Well, the tight end is based on what's out there,
right?
And these guys don't. These prospects, although it's a deep tight end draft.
Right.
There's not much difference in about the top 5 or 6 guys,
right?
In my opinion, and they're going to be.
So you're probably not doing.
They're going to
that.
start going off the board mid to late 2nd round.
But look at defense and tackle. If one of those monsters from Georgia is available, linebackers. We talk cornerback.
Everyone can't be gone.
Right?
By the time
yes.
There's got to be someone left.
Something's got to be there, right?
And
as long as you don't reach and jump over what your board is showing you.
Right.
And so in the case of, because a lot of people are mocking one of these guards to the Cowboys at 24, Kenyon Green from Texas A&M or Zion Johnson from Boston College, I think that the Cowboys, if they're going to take one of those guards in the 1st round, then they are projecting that, in my opinion, any player that you're taking in the 1st round in this draft, because I think this is a deep draft where you can get Pro Bowl type player in the 1st round. You're projecting that player is going to be a Pro Bowl player, and you're going to want to sign him to a 2nd contract.
And he better be able to play tackle, in my
Well, yeah,
in my book.
I go for that too. But if
am I getting greedy?
But if
yeah, you are.
But you would take Zach Martin or Travis Frederick at 24.
Yeah, but they knew. By the way, they knew Zach Martin could play tackle. He played tackle at Notre Dame, right? And stop me. I think I told this story just recently that in the Senior Bowl that year, he was the only guy that could block Aaron Donald. And Aaron Donald was the only guy that could get by Zach Martin. It was a great show in those practices, believe me. And both of them, and they got close to Donald, right? Donald went 13.
Mm-hmm.
So they sat there at 16 because they thought they were going to get one of those defensive guys. Donald went 13, and Ryan Shazier went 15. Pittsburgh took him right before him. Otherwise, the Cowboys probably were going to take him.
Mm-hmm.
That's why this whole debate about Johnny Manziel was just ridiculous. They weren't going to take Johnny Manziel. And they said, okay, we'll just settle. We'll settle for Zach Martin.
Well, I'm going to grasp at straws once again. So, did you see any offensive guard that was performing the way Zach Martin performed when he came out? Did you see any guard that's worth
in this draft?
Yes.
In that draft or this draft?
In this draft. Yeah. You're comparing, Zach Martin. You say
right.
he's first round, capable. So what about
no? There's not. There's not a Hall of Famer.
There's not a Hall of Famer sitting there.
No.
And I keep reading about these guys and strengths, weaknesses, what they are. And again, I just couldn't get over Stephen Jones pointing out how hard it is these days to project offensive linemen coming from college, how they're going to play in the NFL.
Really?
Because the college game is so different, right? They know they're pass blocking. Right?
Right.
And when they run, it's usually run option. Mm-hmm. They're running from shotgun.
Zone blocking, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's a different game in the NFL. And he's pointed out it's hard to project the offensive lineman. Mm-hmm. And he's right.
So what about the defensive linemen? They're always looking for a pass rush. So do they have to be, more discerning about how they play the run?
And I think that's got to be something when you look at defensive ends. Because
right.
when we talk defensive ends, it's always, well, these are his sacks or these are his pressures. Okay, what happens if
that's because that's all he has to do.
What if they run at him? Can he set the edge? And that's what I noticed about Dante Fowler, by the way. He was playing 3-4 defenses. And he doesn't look to me to be a 3-4 defensive end. He's a 4-3 defensive end.
Well, he's certainly not a 3-4 defensive end. He'd be a 3-4 outside linebacker.
Yeah, that's what I meant. That's what I meant. Outside linebacker.
Right.
And that would be like saying, okay, we're going to move DeMarcus Lawrence to linebacker in a 3-4. That ain't going to work.
Well, but you're in nickel 70% of the time,
right?
And those 3-4 teams, they're rushing 4, and so the question is he a stand-up rusher even in their nickel? For instance, Everson Griffin when he came here, he had been in that 4-3 in Minnesota with a hand on the ground, and he could not adapt to standing and rushing the passer here. To that point, though, like on Jordan Davis, as far as the defensive lineman who can defend the run, Jordan Davis, he is a monster at doing what he can do, but he's not a guy that will get to the quarterback a lot.
Right.
But I think as far as shutting down his area of the field, whether it's the run game or pushing the pocket, then it's great. And so it's going to be very interesting to see where he goes because he doesn't have the ability to sack the quarterback.
But the other guy does.
Premium. Devontae Wyatt does, but there's some
kind of the same.
There's some things in his game that where he could slide also.
Right.
I mean, he's not. I don't think Devontae Wyatt. He's not Gerald McCoy.
Right.
It was a third pick in the draft.
And he's not Aaron Donald.
And neither one of those guys are Ndamukong Suh.
Yeah.
It was the second pick in the draft.
Remember when he first came out?
I mean, yeah, that's right. And so, we can look at you can see on YouTube some great plays, dominating plays, but are they doing it on a consistent basis? The big, like with Jordan Davis. When you look at Georgia, he was only on the field first and second down. They took him off the field. And in fact, the Georgia front seven guys, they were rotating all those guys in. And so Jordan Davis is only playing like 20 snaps a game in college at Georgia.
Isn't there a guy?
And so do you want to spend a first-round draft pick on a guy? Now, at 24, it's a little bit different. But will a team at 14 want to spend their 14th pick in the draft on a guy who you have to take off the field on third down?
Do they have to take him off the field?
Well, I don't know. We don't know. That they're going to have to project that with him because they haven't seen it in college with him that he can play that many snaps at that large a size.
Right, but based on his
measurables and running a 4.78, he can. But how long can he sustain it at that size?
Right.
So, all right.
What about the guy from Alabama, the defensive tackle?
I mean, he's a guy that a lot of people like. So, I mean, there's a whole bunch of them.
But here's what happens with that position, though. When the Cowboys start looking at the value of that position compared to something else, you'll say, okay, defensive tackle, second, third round. I want somebody that's going to either I would imagine they put a priority at defensive end more than they do defensive tackle.
It's outside in.
Right. Mm-hmm. And the same thing with wide receiver compared to guard. I mean, that's just the value of that position.
Nobody's looking for a sap anymore. Nobody's looking for.
Now, there are exceptions to every rule.
Right.
Yes,
yes.
And Aaron Donald was an exception.
Right.
If you draft again with that draft, and Aaron Donald's going up there,
he's
very
top 10, right? If not top 5, right?
That's right. All right, we continue with more mixed shots in just a moment.
Before there was a draft, you could size up a cowboy by 3 simple factors: the crease in his hat, the bend of his brim, and his unbending attitude. A man's Stetson didn't just protect him from what life threw at him, it projected a rugged, unstoppable spirit. Stetson hats are still American-made with pride right here in Texas. They're still the unofficial crown of all self-respecting cowboys, and Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find a retailer nearest you at stetson.com/cowboys.
Hi, I'm Clint Tillison with...
And I'm Jay Novacek, and we're both with...
United Ag and Turf, the official tractor provider of the Dallas Cowboys.
So, if you need a tractor to bale some hay, a mower to cut some grass, or a gator to get some chores done...
Get a John Deere at United Ag and Turf.
And then, let's get to work.
Hey, Jay, that's my line.
Well, not today.
Get to work with a John Deere tractor package that's just right for you and your budget. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com.
There's nothing as unique as our eyes, which is why Essilor pioneers ways to make lenses as unique as you. Verilux for super sharp vision, Essential Blue for protection, and Crizal for freedom from glare. 3 cutting-edge solutions in a single unique lens. So whatever your needs, insist on Essilor. Visit your local Essilor experts and find the perfect lens for you. See more, do more, Essilor.
New Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. You deserve it.
I do deserve that.
You deserve decadent flavor without sugar. And a day at the beach without sand getting everywhere. And a relaxing bath that your children don't interrupt.
I deserve all that?
It's really just a visual metaphor for Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. Everything you want, nothing you don't.
A visual metaphor on the radio. I do deserve that.
Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. The zero you deserve is finally here.
Back to mixed shots.
Whether you're watching from home or cheering in the stands, with Essilor lenses, you'll see every exciting play. Book an appointment at your local Essilor experts and find the perfect Essilor lens for you. See more, do more, Essilor.
All right. How would you like a Darren Woodson in this draft? Would you like it?
Yeah.
Would you like Darren Woodson?
Especially if I get him in the second round.
This guy might be your second-round draft pick. The other night, I fell in love with a player from Maryland. He is a safety by the name of Nick Cross.
Okay.
He is.
I like the name.
Do we have some video?
I don't know that we do have video of him, but he's from Maryland. He is the youngest player in this draft.
Mm-hmm.
He's only 20 years old. He'll turn 21 on September 10th. And this guy reminds me of Darren Woodson.
He's smart then, right?
Yeah, he's a smart guy.
Yeah.
And that's a big, Everson, I'm big on makeup. I'm
Yeah.
big on a guy, because I don't, half the time I don't know what I'm looking at when I'm looking at tape, But I do know what I'm looking at when I see an interview or I see what a guy means to his team and what his teammates and coaches say about him. And he aces that test. But check out the numbers here. All right. Here's the other thing. Him being 20 years old.
Safety.
He graduated.
He's a safety.
Strong, free.
He's a free. He can be either one.
Either one.
He's close to graduating, right?
He was at Maryland for 3 years. And do I have marked down whether he graduated or not? I don't have it marked down. But anyway. All right. He is 6 foot, 212 pounds. They probably mark against him because he's only 6 foot tall. Okay. But he doesn't look like he's only 6 foot tall on the field. Ran a 4.34 with a 1.46 split. Love that.
4.34.
4.34.
Okay.
4.34 at 212 pounds.
It took him a while to get that.
He must have bad hands because somebody would have made him a wide receiver.
All right. With a 1.46 split. Okay. 37 vertical and a 10-10 broad jump. Okay.
Nice.
A cone drill of 6.85, which is phenomenal.
Okay, now tell me how he plays
20,
football.
21 bench reps, strong.
Not bad.
I love the way he plays football. And if you look at him, the way he diagnoses plays, he is a student of the game. This is what I love the most about him. If you hear him talk, he talks about. I went back. There was a video that was done on him in high school. He didn't start playing football until his freshman year in high school. His dad wouldn't let him play, but he always his dream was growing up was to be a Hall of Fame football player. But
hell,
he
I didn't
puts in
play
the
until
work.
my freshman year.
he puts in the work. His high school coach. Elijah Brooks, who also he was hired at Maryland as an assistant. That's how you get some of these players. He calls him maniacal about preparation. Mike Loxley, his head coach at Maryland, he has the ability with his speed and athleticism to really impact the game. Okay, but the thing that I was most impressed with him was he would be playing a high safety, and he covers so much ground, whether it's going backwards or forwards. And now there are times where he would misread a play, but I think that can be coached out of him at age 20, where he would aggressively come up on, and then a double move someone would get by, and so you'll find criticism for him for that, whatever. But there are times where he would be as a high safety, and there would be a misdirection, backside flare pass out to a running back, and this guy closes so fast, and he's really the only line of defense.
Wow.
And he would stop him for a no gain or a loss.
What was the guy's name again?
Nick Cross is his name. And again, he looks like Darren Woodson. He's got numbers like Darren Woodson. And anyway, he is my guy. So there you go. Nick
Second
Cross.
round? Third?
I'm not sure he's going to be there at 56.
Really?
Yeah. So
yeah, you have to use one of them fifth-round draft choices to move
up. Yeah, and it'd be like Sean Lee in 2010, where the Cowboys used a later pick and moved up 5 spots to get the guy that they wanted, whatever. And so it could be one of those.
I have to say this. Not once has Bill ever referred to a great cornerback and said, he kind of reminds you of Everson Walls. And not once has he said, you got a guy like Everson Walls there.
No, there's only one.
You want
Walls.
to go first round with that guy, if you got the Everson Walls
There's
numbers.
our Sky Moore guy, look.
Okay.
On NFL Network.
I got you.
So no one else can look, Mickey.
Oh, that's right. Well,
they can if they're watching NFL Network right now.
He's being interviewed.
Oh, there he is.
But my point also on Nick Cross is, okay, yeah, maybe they don't have as much of a need right now for a safety, although I think we
in a year they will.
Yeah, and if he is, if I am right in my, more importantly, if Cowboys scouts are right in their assessment of a player, and this guy is as good as they think he is, then he's going to get on the field regardless.
So my question would be, first of all, how are his hips? Darren Woodson had great hips.
Mm-hmm.
Darren Woodson could.
He looks like he can turn and go.
He could play. He did turn and go.
Yeah, no, I'm saying Nick Cross.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay.
He looks like
because you're talking about covering the slot
with that speed.
Yeah, if you're talking about Woodson, you want to cover the slot.
And that's a big thing.
And with that speed, you got hips.
I know.
You got with that kind of speed, then you're talking about somebody that can actually. When Woody played the slot, it wasn't a shutdown type of thing, but he could stay in position long enough to where it just messed up the timing.
All right, he is not Darren Woodson. Okay, he just looks like Darren Woodson. But he's not Darren Woodson. He cannot cover Jerry Rice.
Right.
Okay, right. I'm not how old is Jerry Rice right now?
Jerry's 45.
He may not be able to cover Jerry Rice right now.
Right.
But he could be Brian Dawkins.
And if you
mention that name.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And if you that's sore subject.
He could be Steve Atwater.
Oh,
even worse.
That's the second time. That's two in a row right there. Thanks a lot, Bill.
And Darren Woodson would second those motions.
Yes, he would.
That's right.
And I second them for him as well.
Yeah. Goes guys in the Hall of Fame.
Thank you. Jeez.
All right, what else is on your legal pad there?
I had just run across something. No, you're going to have to. Oh, I know. So we talked about it, all these positions, right? They got to do something at kicker.
Yeah.
And here's my list of kickers. It's like a half a page, and there's only
sound too excited.
there's only 3 names on it.
You can hear that background.
And those were the free agents. The other half was the rookies.
Yeah.
And there was really only 3 names on there. So they got to come up with something because
it can't be that hard to find the freaking kicker, man.
Free agent kicker, they're all guys that are retreads. Let's
look at the guy from Cincinnati.
That's why
we talked about him.
He was a
week.
rookie, right?
Okay, but was he that good
choice.
when he was in college? I mean, to where you could see him doing what he's doing
he
right
was
now.
good enough that he was a 5th-round draft pick.
Yeah.
So they liked him.
And that's
enough.
usually first round for kickers.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
That's part of the cutoff line, right?
Yeah.
Unless you're Janikowski.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't happen anymore anyway, right?
But
you got to find somebody.
Plenty of incidents where you've got a kicker that came out, nobody thought he'd be that good, and the guy ended up being good. What about Blake for us? Was it Blake, the kicker that came from Oklahoma State for us?
Bailey.
Was Bailey that good at Oklahoma State?
I think he was good at
to where
Oklahoma
you
State.
knew he would be that good in the pros.
Hey, we didn't know 2 weeks before the first game his rookie year that he was going to make this team. I remember being out at AT&T Stadium, and the Cowboys had an open practice that day, and at certain times during the practice, you've got the kickers kicking 3 or 4 in a row, and I remember I may have been standing next to you, Mickey.
Was that the day he had a bad day?
This was actually a day it was after his bad day.
Oh, okay.
And
he came back.
And he came back. I'm like, it was the most important moment of that practice was whether Dan Bailey could get his act back together and be able to nail 3 or 4 kicks in a row, and he did. Yeah.
But as Bill said, I remember, and it would have been, I don't know if it was during that season or the next season, talking to Chris Boniel. And I believe it was either his first or second year as an assistant coach for the Cowboys. And he and Joe, the special teams coach,
D.
Camillus, they put their on the line for Boniel.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember Boniel telling me, he goes, I was more nervous than he was because I put my job on the line because I said that's the guy we should go. Because remember, they kept bringing in all these veteran guys. They were going through guys, and Boniel said, no, this is the guy. And he turned out to be the guy.
Yeah.
But he was pretty good at Oklahoma State.
But then he seemed to have a letdown as he came to training camp, though.
He was good until that one day that Bill pointed out.
He just had a week.
We were in San Antonio, maybe?
I can't remember if it was Oxnard or San Antonio that year.
I just remember he had a bad day. And then they let him kick in the last preseason game and then decided to go with him. Yeah. Amazing.
So which one of these kickers do you like?
The two that jumped out to me were Cade York at LSU.
And Prosper.
And then Dicker the kicker from UT.
Mm-hmm.
But you never know when there's a free agent out there that no one knows about, right?
A college free agent.
A college free
agent.
agent.
You mean college free agent?
Yeah, like a young guy. Or maybe somebody that kicked in the Canadian.
Somebody needs to know about him. And
Yes.
I guarantee you there's some, if not multiple people in that scouting department
There's some.
who
They've
are
got
aware
somebody.
of kickers.
Yeah, they've got
Kickers,
somebody.
you can find a renegade kicker easily.
Yeah.
And when I say renegade, someone, like worse than free agency to where he comes out of nowhere. You can have
maybe
that
tried out at Texas Stadium with that.
You never know. That'd be your best free agent tryout, right?
As
there.
much influence.
Did you ever go out there?
Heck no.
To look at it?
No. It was an insult to me as a free agent. It's so funny.
Would you have to pay like $25 to get an opportunity?
When I made the team, there were so many guys who had been out of the league for like 3 years that said, "Oh, if Everson can do it, then maybe I can come back." I had so many guys calling me, "Hey, can you help me get in the league?" No, man, you've been out of the league for 6 years. What you want me to do, man?
All right, my wife will tell me I don't listen very well, and I did not listen very well earlier in the show. Apparently, we've got a caller on the line.
Oh, wow.
And even though we're past time, we're going to take this caller. Who is on the line?
For perseverance.
Thanks for his patience.
Who do we have?
This is Bob from Nashville.
Hello, Bob. How are you?
Bob?
Good. Hey, thanks for taking my call. I know it's the end of the show. And, hey, I remember a really great cornerback, Everson Walls. So shout out to you, buddy.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, real quick, I know offensive line is a big priority, but I still am a big proponent of another stud linebacker. I mean, look what the impact Micah Parsons had on our team, and I think another stud linebacker going in the second round could really, really shore up our defense. And then, of course, I know we have all these other needs, but those are the two that I really think, offensive line and another stud linebacker, and I think that could really help us out. Thanks for letting me take the call, guys.
All right.
Well, that's on our list.
I've got no problem.
Me neither.
Even taking a stud linebacker at 24 in the first round.
I mean, we talked about the guy from Georgia.
Yep.
Nakobe Dean.
And there was another one I just read about.
Devon Lloyd from Utah is.
Maybe that was him. Yeah.
Whoa. You got to look at Devon Lloyd. I mean, and I was big on Nakobe Dean, too. Mm-hmm. And I like both of them. And Nakobe Dean is more of a guy who can – and this is not a knock on him at all. He's not athletically the same player that Devon Lloyd is, but, I mean, he can read plays and read and react as good as anybody. And he's got all of those intangibles that you're looking for. But – Devon Lloyd is a playmaker, and in 14 games at Utah this year, consensus All-American, had 22 tackles for loss and 8 sacks, 4 interceptions, 2 run back for touchdowns. I mean, but you just look at him. He is athletically, he ran a 4.6, 25 bench reps, 10.6 broad jump, and I just have written out next to him, wow, great player.
See, and there's an assumption going on at linebacker right now, right? You mentioned, KZ, but Keanu O'Neal. They decided that they weren't going to bring him back, and that we'll cover ourselves with Jabril Cox. Jabril Cox didn't play last year.
And he's coming off an ACL.
Right? Mm-hmm. And he's coming off an ACL, and you're going to assume...
And he was at LSU for 1 year. He played at North Dakota State for 3 years.
Right, and you're assuming that he's going to step in and take that spot that Neal played, right? That's a big assumption. Mm-hmm. So there's an unknown there. And
the other thing that Devon Lloyd can do,
yourself.
I mean, you look at him, they rush him off the edge a little bit. I mean, that's how he got a lot of those tackles.
See, what if you had two of those guys?
Two of those guys, and you don't know which one's going to line up where.
Who's lining up where? And who's in the middle and who's on the outside? Or can one of them go to defensive end? Or I can line up at defensive end and drop off?
I mean, I think if Devon Lloyd is there at 24, I would rush that card in.
Go running up there.
I'm looking at videos now.
You're watching Devon Lloyd?
Yeah, I'm looking at him right now. This guy is huge too, man. He's kind of thin to be inside. He looks a little lean to be inside.
You know, sometimes you
cornerbacks.
want that in a young player because none of them are going to lose weight.
Right.
You know?
That's right. None of them are going to lose
Which,
weight.
by the way, I heard that Conor McGovern put on some muscle, some weight in the offseason. So we'll see what happens there.
Devon Lloyd is listed. He's 6'2" and 3/4 tall, so 6'3", 237. Now, Nakobe Dean is only 5'11", 229.
Who do we have there on the screen?
It's probably the Utah guy, Devon Lloyd. It is Devon Lloyd.
Yeah.
Number 0.
Number 0.
Yeah.
He zeroed out that guy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very articulate, Spags. I like that.
Very good.
And by the way, Devon Lloyd and Nakobe Dean
crew
are both very articulate themselves, too.
Yeah.
Which is all part of that makeup I look for in these players.
What are you trying to say?
I would have drafted Everson Walls.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's what I'm saying.
See, that's the first time.
Yep.
We need to make a habit of that. That's the only case someone's ever made about me getting drafted. That's the only case.
Yeah, just based on his interview alone. I wouldn't care about the 4.840.
That's right. 4.74. Come on.
All right, I think we're out of time. We're past time.
We're way past time.
Past time here. All right, but we are going to be on next Thursday.
Yes.
As a pre-draft pregame
So that's a
show.
definite then.
So,
and Bill will tell you who the Cowboys are going to draft next
that's right.
Thursday.
Big green notebook.
By
I'll have my mock draft
12:30
for you. I got
Okay.
not just who they'll draft in the first round, but every other round.
Every other round.
All my trade downs.
Every other round. So that mean the first, the third, and the fifth?
We got 9 draft picks right now. We're going to have 14 by next Thursday.
Okay.
The trades that I'm going to have. We're going to trade down and pick up whatever. All right. Great time of the year.
Yes.
If you got a big green notebook. Not
And
everyone
I'm
has
just
a big green
glad
notebook,
it's here. That's all.
Yeah. All right, I'll be glad when it's over.
Yes.
I'll start getting some sleep. All right, that does it for Mick Shots. We'll talk at you again next Thursday at 11:30, Draft Day.
Oh, forgot to tell you guys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!